As the nation grapples with the challenges of modern governance, the integration of advanced technology into public service is no longer optional, but essential for improving efficiency and accountability. This shift is particularly relevant in a country like Nigeria, where traditional methods often fall short of meeting the demands of a rapidly evolving digital landscape. Experts say the current state of IT infrastructure in Nigeria's public sector requires a deliberate effort to engender development. But how critical is IT infrastructure in Nigeria's public sector? I'm being joined by cloud engineer, Mr. Kenneth Osem. Thank you so much. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me here today.
Yes, I think we should start with you providing us an overview of the current state of IT infrastructure in Nigeria's public sector.
Right. So I have had an opportunity to work in a consulting firm in Abuja, where we kind of like supported the public sector on several tech-related issues. And I have been opportune to see the inside of so many public sector organizations. And I must say that they are currently improving, but we are not there yet. For example, let's say you go to a hospital right now to have yourself checked. Maybe you already have a hospital card with the said hospital maybe a year ago, and you walk in to have yourself checked, and you experience things where the hospital attendants start looking for your file everywhere. And this, maybe you even left work to stop by to do this during your break time, and you observe that a lot of time is wasted trying to get your details and all of that. And all of this, this is just one example. We could use several other examples within the public sector where everything is still done manually. There are cabinets everywhere, and these are all fragile and susceptible to fire. It could be water and so on. And I would say the current state of the Nigerian infrastructure is still developing, and we're not there yet.
Immediate attention to improve this IT infrastructure, if you are to suggest?
Yes. So first of all, I would say that a lot of public sector organizations, first of all, need to migrate to the cloud. So let's say I work in the procurement department of a public sector organization, and for the past 20 years, all the information about bids and EOIs and the rest are all saved in cabinets left, right, center within my department. First of all, the best thing to do would be to migrate this data to the cloud, right? And this is not just put across the department only, but the entire public sector organization, migrating all the data they have on premises, on file cabinets, on their individual workstations, and all move this to the cloud. Once this has been moved to the cloud, they can now use this for automation. And when I say automation, I mean every manual process that is currently being done in a public sector organization should be automated. For example, I recently was tasked with a project with, so we have employees who have been terminated, for example, and the application that we're using for HR was not communicating with the identity and management solution, which is Entra ID, Microsoft Entra ID. So when a user is terminated, the HR application is not aware of that, and it was basically causing conflict. So I was tasked with the responsibility of writing a script. So this is where the automation comes in, writing a script that basically pulls the user information right from Entra ID and save this information in the storage account in CSV. Then another function app then comes to pick up that information and then relay this to the HR management system that the client was basically using. So this is a very simple process that would be used for several other scenarios in the public sector. And then since this data is now saved in the cloud, you will then see situations where you have things like data bricks, which is very popular when it comes to analyzing and interpreting data, used to interpret the data so you can see trends of how many organizations have done this in the past what was the success rate of this organization, and feeding that back to the procurement department. It will be easier to make informed decision on who to give the next job instead of just making it out of the physical evidence that they have just submitted. So, in summary, the first thing that needs to be done in this type of scenario would be to migrate to the cloud, so you can have all your data, all your storage in a central repository that for easy access and management, and then you try to automate simple processes within the public sector, and then go ahead to use all this data you now have to analyze and interpret this, share this with your stakeholders so that you can use it to make informed decisions here.
Very interesting. But what will be your vision now for the future of IT in Nigeria's public sector, let's say in over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yes, so in the next 5 to 10 years, my vision would be that we are not just doing what I just explained right now. We are putting ourselves out there, because if you look at other countries, for example, now, AI is the next big thing, and everybody is talking about AI, generative AI. People are incorporating AI, developing in-house AI applications to do certain things for them. So first of all, the future of Nigeria will rely heavily on artificial intelligence for process automation. And then also, we also need to focus on training the already existing public sector staff. I know I'm very big on using private sector to solve a lot of problems in the public sector, but we also need to train the public sector staff on these emerging technologies. And this is very important, because if you give the job to a private sector organization and they come in to deploy or use AI, whatever they need to do, and at the end of this project, you still need your own internal staff to make use or learn or use the technologies for day-to-day business activities. So training is also very, very important. And then also at the end of the day, I know a lot of times cost is also something that the public sector will be looking at. So in the next 5 years or 10 years, I believe that this whole process, they should be able to understand how cost management works in the cloud, and also how they can reduce costs to make sure they trade CapEx for OpEx. Yeah.
Well, let's now look at the role of the private sector, which seems very important here in building that enhancing infrastructure of the IT. Talking about infrastructure in IT in Nigeria, what role would the private sector play?
Yeah, so right now, if you're looking at the private sector in Nigeria, you see that they are very niche specific. You have private sector that are predominantly focused on fintech services, like trade lender and the likes. They are focused on financial services and providing top-notch technologies when it comes to that. You have other organizations that are focused on developing applications that are specific to whatever you want to do. You have other organizations like my own organization, Infonex System, that is focused on providing DevOps services, managed services for cloud providers like AWS and Microsoft, Azure and GCP. And then we also have things like tailored tech solutions that can also help these public sector organizations to learn how to use the trending technologies and also upgrade their skill set. So where I see the public sector right here is helping where I see the private sector here is helping the public sector in not just implementing these technologies, but also training them on how to use this. Because to be honest, we need to have Nigeria at the global level right now when it comes to technology, because we have the population. If you look at Nigeria right now, at the public side of it, we use a lot of smartphones, social media, and all of that. So we need to leverage our population in our own good. Yeah.
Let's now look at emerging technologies now, like cloud computing, AI, and IoT being integrated into public sector. What potentials do these technologies have to help transform Nigeria's public sector services?
Yes, that's a very interesting question, basically. And if you, just like I explained earlier, if you see how AI is, the the extent of which AI can be used is massive. Yeah, you cannot basically say this is the limit of AI. AI can go far beyond anybody's imagination. So for the public sector, for example, let's say let me still use the medical sector, and I want to go for checkup. Instead of me basically walking down there, physically meet the attendants to say, this is what I want to do, I can basically, if the public sector organization already has AI within their online platform, I can basically use the chatbots, the AI chatbots, to do the major check-in process for me. So I can basically chat with the AI, say, okay, I'm fetching your information from you. Okay, your previous record says this, and so on. And so I see that happening a lot. And then also looking at cloud computing. Cloud computing also in line with AI. All of these tools work together, and in line with AI can also be used heavily for the public sector, where all the data, the databases, the IT resources are all saved in the cloud. And then the good thing about this is that we have an organization in Nigeria that is predominantly focused on guiding and supporting cloud migrations from within Nigeria, which is the NIDA, the National Information Technology Development Agency. And so if you look at this, NIDA has very well defined strategies on how AI, IoT, and cloud computing can really, really benefit the public sector. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting conversation, I must say. But before I let you go, look at what happened the early hours of today. Global cyber outage, ground flights and businesses. I'm sure you've seen that news. It's everywhere. Yeah. How would you react to this, being a professional in that space?
Yes, so this is what we always advocate for organizations to do. A lot of times when we say things should move to the cloud, we also in line push on prioritizing IT compliance and security. So, for example, now when you have situations like this, you then have to do root cause analysis within the particular any organization that is affected to understand what really happened. But before the root cause analysis will happen, you have to do a recovery, and this will entail that you should already have a backup of anything in your environment, your data, your servers, all the information backed up in a secondary location. So in situations like this, how I will react is right now, I know all hands are on deck on all the different organizations that are affected right now, all hands on. I really pity for any cloud infrastructure engineer right now who doesn't have a backup, because it's going to be hell for them. But however, the focus would be making sure that there's a robust backup system. There are solutions like Commvault, there are rubrics that can do this for a third-party environment instead of just doing backup for the vendor that you're using. So what I will react is to that would be always make sure there is a robust security measure for your infrastructure, first of all. Always doing weekly or daily patching for all your servers and review for all the vulnerabilities, and then taking the feedback to make sure that they're in line with how it should be. And then also having data backup somewhere in an alternate location instead of the one that you're using as a cloud provider, so that in an event of failure, you can also use that based on your RPOs and RTOs. Yeah.
Contributions to the program today. Kenneth Osim is a cloud engineer. We hope to have you in again soon to, of course, talk around the tech space. Really had a good time chatting with you.
Thank you very much for your time here.